Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you don't hear the dogs in the background. Those are my neighbor's dogs out there. They're outside dogs. And they're pretty good guard dogs, by the way. They really are. Whenever someone comes down our street that's not familiar, man, you think you can hear them barking now? They just bark up a storm, and they let everybody know that somebody's coming that doesn't belong here. And it's kind of funny because in a way, it's a different kind of a bark. So anyways, I was going to do a news video today, and let me tell you what, there's a lot of news out there. But I decided not to. I just decided to take a little walk around my property here and maybe give you a mini tour of what's been done so far and what we're going to do before the end of this season, because I'll tell you what, winter is a-coming. It is a-coming early this year, in my opinion. It is a very nice 49 degrees right now. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning right now. Very nice 49 degrees, and it's the rainy season now. So we've been getting plenty of rain, and I'll go ahead and show you my potatoes over there here in a minute. But I kind of wanted to just have a little talk with you all, because in all honesty, reading through the news, oh, look at that. I think that's a Sasquatch. See, Sasquatches do exist. Now imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if that was like a black bear charging me and I'm here talking to you. It would be the only time you'd see me run. But like I said, I was looking at the news and I'm like, man, I really don't feel like consuming this stuff today. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you feel the same way. So today I'm going to take a break from the news. I actually have a lot of things to share with you that are news related, and I'll probably put this video out for tomorrow or Monday. But I actually went into a store the other day, and man, I'll tell you what, it makes me feel like we're in a third world country already. So I was watching a video this morning, and I'm not going to shout out the channel because it's a bigger channel, and I don't want it to seem like I'm shouting out a channel just because I want them to recognize that I shouted them out. But it's a channel that I frequent often, and it's a great channel. And you'll probably know who it is when I give you a description of the person. But it's run by a very nice lady. And I just love listening to her talk because she's like 100% real. You know, she's like, hey, this is how it is. You can either accept it or not, but this is what's going to happen. This is how it is. This is what you need to be doing, you know, and that's it. And I'm giving you this information because I love you all, because I'm a patriot, and I want you to succeed, because if you succeed, our country succeeds, right? That's kind of like the attitude that she has, and I love watching it. But she did a video today about, you know, that we are all in this together. And man, I'll tell you what, when I look around, when I see some of the things that I see, as far as where our country is headed, man, it's very difficult. You know, it's very difficult for me to see this beautiful country turning in the direction that it's turning. But we are all in this together, and we can overcome any challenges that are thrown our way. Right? We are never given a challenge that we cannot handle, and that's the truth. But the key is that we stick together, ladies and gentlemen. We are all in this together, and we have to continue to prepare. I just don't see things getting any better. I'm not going to get gloomy and doomy here, but I do hope that you are preparing for this winter. This winter is going to be a challenging winter for many. I would say more than likely for most, not only here in the United States, but around the world. And believe it or not, the way that we're going to get through any of these challenges that are coming, and the ones that are already here, is if we stick together. If we believe in family, if we believe in community, right? If you have people in your lives that bring value to your life. I forgot who said this once, but they said, if you want to know where you are 5 years from now, take a look at the people that you hang out with, because that's where you're going to be. Because the people that you put into your lives, or that you accept into your lives, their values are going to transcend into the values that you hold. I thought I heard something behind me there, but I guess not. So anyways, let me go ahead and show you a few of the things that we've done to the property. It's not done yet. I've got Chief coming back to finish up. And let me just go ahead and show you what we've done so far. The greenhouse is almost done. I've been waiting for the rain to subside, or subdue, I guess you can say. so that I can finish the other half of the roof. I've got half of the roof put on and I need to finish the other half. And it's been like that for a while now because I've been busy doing other stuff. And I actually will be able to show you where the chicken coop is going. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But let's go and check out the greenhouse. So far, this is what the greenhouse is looking like. As you can see, I got one side of the roof on, which has been on for about a week and a half or so, something like that. And the other side's not on yet. But like I said, I've been busy doing other stuff, and I've got the materials, and that'll get finished as long as I get a day without rain to go up there and put it. And not too much has changed, but as you can see here, that's about all of the plastic I had left over. That piece right there. And that piece right there. Now that plastic I purchased on Amazon, and it's, I believe, 17 mil thick. Very sturdy plastic. And I bought 100 feet worth of 20 feet. 20 feet by 100 feet. That's what I ended up buying. And it was enough for me to do this entire greenhouse. And the dimensions of the greenhouse are, let me see, it's 16 feet long. And it's 9 feet wide. So 16 feet by 9 feet wide. And look at this, it's starting to rain again. So 16 feet by 9 feet wide, and as you can see, that's the plastic I had left. Now I did come inside. Let me come in here and show you all. I did lay down 2 strips of plastic on the inside. And for those that were on yesterday's live stream or on Gray Man's live stream, I told you that while I was talking to Gray Man on Thursday that I was shoveling gravel. So what I did is I had I think it's about 8 yards of gravel dumped right here in front of it, and I went ahead and shoveled it inside. So there's plastic under this gravel, and then there's probably about a good 5-6 inches of gravel on this end. This is the end, if you see my previous videos, that you saw had a gap between the bottom of the greenhouse and the actual ground. About a 6-inch gap. And as you can see, there's still a gap around there, but Chief is coming back and I'm going to have him fill all that in. And obviously you can see that this is the part of the greenhouse that has the roof on it. See that? And not too bad. Like I said, I wasn't looking for it to be pretty, just looking for it to work, to hold in sunlight or to bring in sunlight and to hold in a little bit of heat. And what I will be doing is I will be, once I put this side of the roof on, I will be reinforcing the actual roof with these beams right here. So I will have like, kind of like a rafter. It'll look like a rafter, like a house rafter after it's done, just to reinforce the roof. That way, if we get a foot of snow or so overnight, I don't have to worry about the roof caving in. It'll be nice and sturdy. Although, as you can see, this used to be a tent frame, and the tent frame itself was able to hold at least a foot of snow, so I'm pretty sure that this will be no problem. And this is what the inside of the greenhouse looks like. This is a door right here. See? So that's a door that I can roll up, just like the front door. So the front door is kind of like a garage. And then I got a door right here as well. There you go. See that? But I think I'm going to end up leaving these ends open for a couple of reasons. We'll have to see how it works out. I think it'll give us good ventilation whenever we have, pretty warm days. So when we had that windstorm that I told you all about, we had like 75 mile an hour winds. I had this door open along with those doors as well. And obviously all of this was open because it's not roofed in yet. But this greenhouse did not move 1 inch. Not 1 inch did it move. So I'm thinking that leaving a lot of gaps like this here in the top and doors that I can easily roll up, if we ever have a windstorm like that again, it will be just fine. Nothing will move, just like it did not move this time. So for those of you that haven't seen the back of my property, this is the back of my property. Right now it's a graveyard for stumps and pieces of wood that we really don't want or don't need. And what I plan on doing here in the future is, in the next couple of years, Chief is going to come back with more fill and fill it all the way back to this tree right here. He's going to fill this all the way back to that tree and giving it a natural slope downward or grade downward. That way, if I want to get to the back of my property, I can just walk down naturally instead of having to climb down, because it's pretty steep as it sits now. And you've all seen the field depot before, but let me show you one of my little stockpiles that's invaluable. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's kind of an eyesore, but don't throw away your scrap wood. There's always something that you can use it for. I just happened to have to do a little bit of concrete work the other day, and I came to this stockpile of scrap wood, and I was able to get exactly what I needed, not caring that I was using it for concrete, right? And I've got some PVC pipe. That's about, I don't know, what do you think? About $20,000 worth of ABS pipe. So that's some spare ABS pipe that I have. And that's going to be sitting right there. And now up here, you see this little flat patch up here of all of this beautiful bio, right? All of this beautiful virgin dirt and soil. That's going to be a strawberry patch. I'm going to plant strawberries up there. And as you can see here, this is a lot of my building materials that I still have left. And a lot of this will probably carry over into next year. What's in there is what I'm going to use to build the chicken coop, to include all of this insulation right here. And the chicken coop is going to go right here. Let me show you. So if you all remember my old fuel tent, this used to be my old fuel tent, and it used to sit right next to the potatoes, where I have the potatoes now. And although the ground is unlevel and everything like that right there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and level that platform. I'm going to remove that tent from that platform. I'm going to level it, and then I'm going to go ahead and build my chicken coop on that platform. It's going to be the style, same style as the bunker. So that's what we're going to do with the chicken coop. And then from the edge of the deck to the edge of the greenhouse, I'm just going to build a small little run. A small run for the chickens that I'm going to put dirt in and put grass and things like that. So we'll see how that works out. Now, as you can see, everything right now, this time of the year, is kind of like a mess. You know, it's kind of like thrown everywhere. Because what we're doing here is we're trying to move things from one side to another in order to get the ground covered with these rock. Now, this rock right here worked out great. Let me give you a close-up of it. This is what it looks like. So you can see that this rock is pretty clean rock. And it goes on top of the base layer that's pretty much just gravel. And when it rains, it allows the water to filter right through it. That way, when you walk, you're not walking on puddles. And like I was saying, here's our stuff that we still have to put away from winter. So what I plan on doing is, Chief is coming back. And since this rock here was so easy to work with and worked so well, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and extend it all the way back to the end of the property right here. I'll say to the end of the property that's level, or pretty level. We're going to extend this rock all the way back there, behind the bunker, behind the tent and the greenhouse. And then once we do that, we will reposition all of this stuff here. I'm going to go ahead and end up building a tire rack for all of my tires. The ones where you can stand the tire straight up. So what I did is I went ahead and ordered 4 new tires for my Suburban, because the winter tires on it are like 8 years old now. And although they still have tread, I can see cracking on the sidewalls. So I ordered those, and I talked to the person that worked at the tire shop at Costco. And I asked him, I was like, what's the best way to store tires? And he said the best way to store tires is in a temperature controlled environment away from the sun, okay? And that it's not very dry, right? So the dryness part, covered. Temperature controlled environment, not covered, because I'm not going to be stacking 16 tires or wheels inside my house or in the bunker, right? Away from the sun, covered. But he also said that a key thing that will allow your tires to last long term if you're just storing them is that when you store them, that you store them on their tread. So you see, not like I have them there, not laying down like that, but actually standing up. So I'm going to go ahead and build a tire rack that will accept all of my tires and wheels and just put them on there and then cover them with a tarp. He said that if you leave them outside, even in these temperatures, as long as you keep the sun away from them, that you should be okay. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to build a nice long rack. It should be pretty simple. Just a couple lengths of 2x4x8 feet, you know, put together. That's 16 feet, and they should accommodate 16 tires, because each tire all the way across is just a little bit less than 12 inches. It's like 10, 11 inches, I guess you can say. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm definitely going to have that done before the end of this building season, I guess you can call it. Not really summer. And I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it's starting to rain pretty good right now. But let's go ahead and give you the rest of the mini tour, I guess. Now that right there is my shelter logic tent. And I've had this tent for about 4 years now, I think. These tents are outstanding. I had some plastic over it for last winter, which in my opinion is a great idea. So the plastic came off during the big windstorm that we had. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that plastic for this winter with a big, thick tarp. It's going to cost me a pretty penny. I'm guessing it's going to be about $150 because I'm going to need something that's at least 20 feet wide by 30 feet long. And I do believe they have those. I'm going to buy one of those. I believe they have them at Lowe's or Home Depot. I've seen them there before. But what it does is it protects the actual original cover from snow. And more importantly, it protects it from the sun, right? The sun is what really does damage to the cover, and the snow as well as it's sliding off. So that's another thing that I'm going to do before this building season is over. Now this area here is where I'm going to go ahead and put one of my raised beds. I told Chief to go ahead and bring me a half load of soil. And he put it in the hole where the old fuel tent used to be. So that old fuel tent, which the platform is now going to be the chicken coop, that's where this used to be. So in this area, I'm going to have a couple of raised beds right next to each other. And more than likely, I'm going to be using this area to grow potatoes, right? I want to master the art of growing potatoes. So here's my potatoes so far this year. Not a huge crop, but good enough. And as you can see, they're doing pretty well. I'm really happy with how they're doing. Now, I have no idea what it looked like under the dirt, you know, as far as if there's actually big potatoes under there, but we'll find that out here in about another month and a half or two, probably more like 2 months, probably going into October. These are the ones that I have in some grow bags right here. Now, this here is where I have my trailer moved to, right? This is the home of my trailer. I really don't use this to travel anywhere. It's just for storage. This is what we use to move up to Alaska, and I've been using it for storage ever since. And of course, I went ahead and moved my work table where I have my saw over to this area to get it out of the way so that Chief can put gravel in the areas that these things were in. Now, this is my new driveway. He gave me another driveway. One of the things, ladies and gentlemen, that I really enjoy about Alaska, or at least about where I live, is that, man, it's so easy for you to do work on your property, right? I called the city and I was like, do I need a permit or anything like that in order to build a new driveway? And they're like, no, you don't need any of that. You just build it. And I was like, do I have to put a culvert in? Because the gap between the road and the driveway is only like 6 inches. And they were like, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to do any, you don't have to put a culvert in, whatever. And I decided that instead of putting a culvert in, what Chief did was he placed as the base layer, he placed really big rocks. I think they're called 6-inch plus or something like that. But he placed really big rocks that were pretty clean, that would allow water to seep through and run down. So that's what he did instead of putting a culvert, because there's really no room to put a culvert on that. There was only about 6 inches. But the point is that one of the things that I enjoy is that you're not messed with very much when you're doing stuff. So I didn't have to get any permits or anything like that to get this driveway built. And, you know, that just cuts down on the time that it takes you to do it and on the cost as well. So this is what the driveway is looking like. And he went all the way up to that. I mean, look at all the room that I got right there. And you can see that this is all of the biomaterial that he scraped up from the top. And all of that, ladies and gentlemen, it really looks like an eyesore now. But a couple of winters from now, when we get snow on that, compressing it down and feeding it, you know, nutrients, that will be all overgrown. And then he went ahead and gave me a couple of pads, or built me a couple of pads. One right here for my water tank, which I've decided what I'm going to do with this 2,500 gallon water tank. I'm not going to have it built for the entire year's use. It's going to be mainly for my garden when I get a full garden growing, and it's going to be for emergencies. So I'm not going to have it winterized just yet, because I figure that if something happens with the water system during the wintertime, we have snow, no problem. And during the summertime, like this time of year right now, there's enough rain that I'm sure that this right here will be filled up in about less than a week with all of the rain that we get. So we have a pad for it right here, which I will be using for. There's some other things that I'm going to be using this for, but that's going to come in the future. So this here pad is right here for these fuel tanks. I plan on getting a couple more to put right there. Then I'm going to build something around it. And what I'm also going to do, I'm going to do this next year, because I have a buddy that has one of those augers that you can attach to a bobcat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him come over here in front of the fuel tanks, and about 5 feet in front of the fuel tanks, I'm going to go ahead and have him drill me some holes, like 4 holes. Then I'm going to go get some of the, you know, those cylinders that you can pour concrete in. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and build up some pillars in front of this just to protect it against any vehicles. So it'll probably go about 4 or 5 feet in the ground, and then about 3 feet up. That way, if a vehicle ever backs up to here and by mistake doesn't notice that I have tanks here, it'll stop it. So on a previous video, I told you all that we had a little incident when Chief was excavating this part of the property right here, and it's that some roots came out from where I had some pillars. So I ended up doing a little bit of concrete work right there. Now, when I was cleaning out under the pillars, I realized, and then I remember that I actually have a concrete pillar under these. It's not a pad, but it's a round pillar that goes down about 3.5 feet. So even if I would have just filled this in with dirt, it would have been just fine. But I figure I would do this because that will enable me to fill this up, this area up, you know, all the way up to the top of the concrete there with gravel and with some plastic under it to give it good drainage. Right? And then I went ahead and did this one as well. Now, like I said, structurally, it really didn't need it because it had the concrete under it. But I figured that for drainage, it would be better to do that. And it gives me like a stopgap for the gravel that I'm going to put on there after I put my plastic on the ground. I did this one yesterday, so I'm just letting it dry up really good, probably for about the next week or so before I go on to the next stage. And you all saw that's the new entryway for my driveway. And this is about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is it so far. Slow and steady wins the race. I look around sometimes and I look at all of the little imperfections, right, that there are. But when I look at those imperfections, I tell myself, would you rather have a McMansion and be a slave to the banks for the next 30 years? Or would you rather deal with these little imperfections and these little things that you have to work on, even on a yearly basis, I guess you could say. And I would rather just do what I'm doing now. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get up this early because I felt that I had to. I got up this early because I wanted to. It's the time that I normally get up anyways. And it's just a beautiful thing and a great feeling to be able to get up when you want to get up, to be able to go to bed when you want to go to bed, and to be able to eat when you want to eat, etc., etc. You know, not rubbing it in anybody's faces, but if you have one goal in life, besides living a good life as a good person, of course, is try to become debt-free. Try to do everything that you can to become debt-free and to get out of the system as much as you can. Because I'll tell you what, you will really appreciate that you did. You will really be grateful that you did that. So even with all of the work that I've done here, you know, and that we've done here, you know, my family and I, things are still not perfect. But what is perfect? Right? I guess perfect depends on how you think of things, right? Depending on what you want to give up for a certain item or not, or a certain thing or not. Let me go ahead and show you how he widened my driveway. Now, what you're looking at here is my driveway before. I'm going to see if I can draw a line when I edit this video. This is my driveway before. If I can't draw a line, the driveway would have ended on the driver's side of that white Avalanche of my wife's car. That's where the driveway ended. So where the Tundra is sitting is new driveway. And you can see right here, it goes all the way this way. Now, what do we plan on doing with all of this extra space? Well, it's great because now we can actually park a couple of vehicles in here next to each other, and we have plenty of room. But one of the things that we're planning on doing with this little corner right here is putting up that tent. Remember the tent that's on top of what's going to be the chicken coop right now? We're going to put up that tent right here just to have it as extra storage for whatever it is that we need to put out there. Probably the garbage can will be a nice thing to put in there. That way it won't be an eyesore. And some of the things that we have in our front deck. However, what I'm most excited about is that we'll be able to use all of this extra space right here to push snow. In the wintertime, I'll be able to push most of the snow that way. And it'll be a lot easier for me to keep the snow under control here during the wintertime. There's the old little bunker right there with all of my tools. I've got everything out nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. You would think that there was no crime here, and there really isn't. Let me tell you a funny story before I end the video. So a couple of days ago, when I was putting up those concrete forms, the concrete that I showed you, I'm looking for my saw, all right, my chop saw, which is under that tarp right there on the table. All right, the saw's under there. Well, I'm looking for it all over. You know, I set up the table and everything. I'm looking for it all over. I could not find it. I'm like, where in the world did you put that saw? And I looked for it for like half an hour. I looked for it in places that I knew for a fact I didn't put him there. Like in the back of my truck. Like, I didn't put it there. I know I didn't, but I'm going to check there anyways. I checked under the floor of the bunker. I know I didn't put it there, but I'm going to check there. I checked everywhere. I even checked under my house, knowing that I would never bring it all the way up there. And of course, the very last place that I checked is where I found it. When I was taking this apart, when I was taking this table apart from where it was before so that Chief can do his work, I went ahead and grabbed the saw and I put it somewhere out of the way so it wouldn't fall or get run over or anything like that. And I ended up putting it behind the fuel depot. And that's the last place that I checked. So like the entire time I was looking for it, I was actually thinking, man, did somebody actually come and take it? Did someone actually come and steal it? I've never had anyone, I've never had anything come up missing here ever, no matter how long I was gone for. And I started to question myself if maybe someone has stolen it. And I'm very glad that it was just me being senile, because I would hate to think that someone would have had stolen it, because it just makes you feel different. Whenever you've been violated in that way, somebody coming onto your property and taking something, it really makes you feel different. So I'm very glad that it was just me forgetting in my old age. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I had a great time talking with you. Just have a great day. Continue to prepare. This winter is going to be, in my opinion, a challenging one. But we made it through last winter, right? So we can make it through this winter. It's just different planning for different seasons. Having said that, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow we're going to start our Christmas and August giveaways, right? So hopefully we'll see you there during our live stream, and it's going to be at 9 a.m. Alaska time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all of your support. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out. God bless.